Hi, my name is Jordan Thompson, and this is my card. To start off, human sex trafficking is an inhumane crime that is committed around the world. Men, women, and children as young as 8 years old are forced into prostitution across countries. Carla Jacinto is one of them. She's a victim of sex trafficking, and at 12 years old, Carla was tricked and forced into this life that is hard to escape. 43,200 is the number of how many times Carla was raped and abused by men over the time of 4 years. She was working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for 4 years straight. There were no days off, no holidays, and certainly no exceptions. When Carla was 5, she was sexually and physically abused by a family member, and traffickers normally look for this in targets of girls, that way to make them feel vulnerable and attach themselves to the victims, I guess you would say. For example, a man 10 years older than Carla who claimed to be a used car salesman, began empathizing with her about how he was also abused as a child as well. They lied in order to get closer to them. Carla says he was very affectionate and a gentleman. He made her feel like he loved her and she loved him. The older man took her on a trip near Puebla, Mexico, where she lived with him for 3 months. Carla explains how he treated her very well during those 3 months. He bought her gifts, clothes, he loved her, gave her affection, and everything was great. She did later on notice red flags while they were together. He would leave her alone by herself while his cousins brought home new girls every week. She would always ask about it, and then he finally told her that they were pimps. It is reported that 600,000 to 800,000 people are trafficked across borders each year. This is only the number reported. There are many, many other cases that are unreported. As traffickers, or pimps, continue to deceive and capture these honest girls and boys, the numbers of these victims will continue to grow. In order to reduce the number, we must provide more effective solutions. I am here to inform and hopefully inspire you to help with this social issue. I feel no one is making this as serious of a deal as it should be. No one is looking for signs to prevent it from happening. It seems to be part of normality. With that being said, let's talk about how we are going to help these victims. Covenant houses are shelters for young children that offer direct care to protect and impact trafficking survivors. I would use the lot of money that I fortunately have won to help build more of these safe houses and support the system. Covenant houses are also known as safe houses. Not only are they shelters for young children, they offer direct care to protect and impact trafficking survivors. They are all across the United States and South America. When providing direct care, they provide therapy, mental health care, trauma support, care kits, and offer screening tools as well. These houses are great advocates in identifying and protecting victims of sex and human trafficking. Covenant houses used to be shelters for young people facing homelessness until they began doing more research to provide more for victims of trafficking. The covenant houses are beneficial because they act as protection, not a foster care system. The houses get them the help they need. They researched the generality of trafficking from 641 young children about to be homeless, and found that 19% were identified as victims of human trafficking and 14% were victims of sex trafficking. And experiencing such vulnerability at that young of an age is difficult to comprehend. These houses are providing safety and care for these victims. They should be all over the world. Besides these safe houses, what more can we do to help? A nonprofit organization known as Thorn, Digital Defenders of Children, was created by actor Ashton Kutcher and his former wife Demi Moore in 2014. This organization was created to prevent sex trafficking of young boys and girls. It has contributed to identifying 5,894 child sex trafficking victims and rescuing 103. They've created multiple prototypes to improve their technology in finding victims faster than they have before. They have 3 focused strategies, the first one being accelerating victim identification, the second one being equipping platforms, and the third one is empowering the public. Another way they are using their tool is by using insights and knowledge of victims and survivors. Without them, they would not know names given, they would not know the places, and more importantly, how and where they captured them in the first place. They use the technology to save victims and identify traffickers or pimps, and it's to help prevent the demand for sexual exploitation and decreasing the number of victims. Not only would I use the lotto money to build more safe houses, but I would also put it towards this organization as well. If we can't fund these organizations and systems and these safe houses, one of the best ways to help is to be educated and be aware of sex trafficking. For example, how do most pimps and traffickers capture their victims? It is possible to walk by a victim of sex trafficking and being able to identify them can be a large factor in preventing the numbers to rise. If you can sense someone is feeling anxious, paranoid, avoids eye contact, or even physical signs such as bruises or cuts, they could be someone who is trapped. It is possible they may even be with their pimp if you see someone with them. Reporting about it immediately can save someone's life and possibly more. Raising awareness that sex trafficking is a real-world problem and could happen to anybody is important. Sex trafficking is a worldwide problem that is possible to fix. In order to try and end this problem, there needs to be a drive in everyone to save these girls and boys. We need to do our part in order to help these victims, not only by preventing it from happening, but even after it already has happened. Many teenagers suffer from psychological trauma and abuse due to this industry, and we need to fight against it. Thank you.